Hello and welcome to Keep On Cybertruckin, a podcast where Cybertruck owners share their experiences and talk about all things EV. We're here with Jerry, Adil, and Chase. My name is Eric. Guys, how you guys doing tonight?
Pretty good. Pretty
Yeah, yeah.
excited.
Yep,
Yeah,
definitely.
we definitely have a lot to talk about. Tesla just dropped some huge news that we're going to talk about later in the show. But before we do that, we actually have two guests with us today, AJ and Chuy. They're going to talk about the project they're working on with the Cybertruck and the big plans that they have coming up for their Cybertruck. So let's go ahead and bring them on and start that conversation. So here we go.
What's up, guys?
Here we
How's it
go.
going,
So,
AJ?
Hell yeah.
yeah, hey
Hey guys.
AJ
How's it going?
and Chewy, why don't you guys introduce yourselves? AJ, if you want to go first, introduce yourself and talk about what you guys do.
My name's AJ. We have a company called the Baja Shop. We're here in Riverside, California, and basically, my father started the company. We build off-road dune buggies and Baja bugs since the '60s, and now we're doing a Cybertruck, and we just did the Cybertruck cage for Chewy and myself. We're going to be racing the Mint 400, so we had to make a race legal roll cage. So we just did that and came out pretty good.
Nice. And then Chewy, how about yourself? Introduce yourself, your company, and what you guys do over there.
Yeah, hey guys. So I'm Chuy from Kilowatt Customs. So I've been building custom EVs for the last 2, 3 years. Done on-road stuff, off-road stuff, mostly off-road builds. Tesla-powered Can-Ams, electric powered sandrails. And now I'm, working with AJ to build the Cybertruck for the Mint 400.
Yeah, so let's talk about that. So the Mint 400, why don't you guys explain to the viewers, for anybody that doesn't know, what is the Mint 400? What does it typically consist of? How do EVs now get involved, or how is a EV? I guess what are some of the challenges maybe with the EV joining in on what the Mint 400 does?
Well, the Mint 400 started out as a promotional race for the Mint Hotel in Las Vegas. It's basically coined as the Great American Race. They used it to help promote, the downtown Las Vegas. And it was really popular. It was one of the biggest races, for probably over 20 years. And then they stopped doing it once the Mint closed down. And the Martinelli brothers and a few other guys, the Best of the Desert and the Unlimited Off Road, they brought it all back and got it going again. And I believe Snore was the first to do it. And they got it back. And since they brought it back, it's been very popular. It's a really good race. It's 400 grueling miles in the Nevada desert. They kind of specially tailored it for the EV class. We only have to do, I believe, 2 laps. So we'll be doing 200 miles. The first guys I think that were to be race it in the EV were the Rivian and the Chevrolet team, which I believe will be racing the Chevrolet team in this year's race. I believe they're going to be racing. So basically that's it. It's a 400-mile off-road race through the Nevada desert, 4 laps, very rough, rocks, holes, ditches, you name it, and it got a lot of history behind it. So, we felt that it was a perfect opportunity to bring the Cybertruck and, show what it can do. And especially, there's other guys doing it. So at least we'll have some competition, because a lot of the other races in the off road, there's not many EVs are racing. This is all new. So we're gonna basically see what the Cybertruck can do.
Yeah, most
Totally.
definitely. So let's talk about the Cybertruck and how what were maybe some of the challenges with you guys doing a build, right? A Cybertruck build for this type of event. What are some of the challenges that you guys saw with the Cybertruck as a stock vehicle, and how are you guys overcoming those obstacles and those challenges?
Well, I would have to say a lot of the biggest challenges were overcome by Chewy, at Kilowatt Customs. We met when I was building that Model 3 off-road car. I made like a sand rail out of a Model 3. And I ran into all kinds of roadblocks with the electronics and the firmware and a bunch of other stuff. And Chewy came over one day, and that's where we met, and he goes, I can take care of all this stuff. And he, boom, bam, within 4 hours, he had the Model 3 running and we were ripping it up already, So, that was the first thing. But when we did the Cybertruck, it was a similar set of problems, You unplug the seats, well, the whole thing shuts down. You unplug the doors. You have to bypass the electronics. You have to, before you weld anything, there's a certain way we have to disconnect all the power to be able to weld anything on that vehicle. So, I would say the electronics was probably one of the hardest things. And like I said, Chewy just basically, boom, we run into this issue, Chewy's on it, and keeps the whole ball rolling. Roll cage, I built a lot of roll cages. Yeah, this one was different and it had its challenges, but still, it wasn't much harder than any other kind of roll cage to build. But yeah, I would say overcoming the electronics and getting the firmware and being able to override certain systems to enable us to still drive the car at its full potential.
Sick. I'm curious because I know you guys are trying to keep this car as close to stock and production as possible. Obviously, the roll cage and a couple other add-ons, but I'm just curious about this roll cage if it adds a significant amount of weight or not.
I don't really think much. I probably would estimate that we added maybe between 300 and 400 pounds,
It's not bad.
you know, and I think that's a pretty fair trade-off for the safety. It's a heavy car. If we roll that thing over, it'd probably pretty dangerous, right?
Yeah.
We were really adamant about the building it. We went back and forth with the tech inspector, or at least Chewy did, multiple times to make
Mm-hmm.
sure that the cage was specific. We even had the gentleman come down, a gentleman named by the name of Bill, the technical director for the Unlimited Off-Road and Best of the Desert series. He came down here personally, checked it all out, and made sure we were within the perimeters of the rules, which we passed with flying colors. So once he did that, it kind of took a lot of pressure off of both of
Yeah.
us. Now we know,
Mm-hmm.
okay, we're going to show up to the race. We actually can race. Because, as you can see in the photos, the roll cage is very, it's different. We tried to keep
Mm-hmm.
it so we didn't destroy the car. Like later, maybe we'll add on to the cage and try to incorporate the mega casting in the back to reinforce it. But I was worried about reinforcing too much, and then possibly the unibody emanating because the roll cage is too rigid.
Yeah.
That's why we decided to go with the DOM versus the chromoly tubing, because chromoly tends to be really rigid, and and I wanted some flex. I go, this big unibody car is going to flex, right? It's glued together, right? So it's going to flex. So I figured DOM was the best choice. We hit all the main points. We connected it to the castings in the front. We also ran a double A pillar just to make it extra safe. And then we ran it down and connected it to the main seat mounts to the front of the castings in the front. But like I said, later, if we keep going with this, maybe we'll run some tubing through the back and attach the cage and make more of a bumper to bumper chassis. You know what I mean? Like
Mm-hmm.
but for now, we're safe. Let's try this thing out and see, if we can get it to finish the race, right? And that's the big goal. And then we can build up on it, and like when I built the Model 3, I was hanging out with, I have a bunch of old men from the old times at my shop, and I'm like, well, what made you guys make the Baja Bug? And they told me that there was a ton of Baja Bugs they barely got smashed Volkswagens and they would total them. So the junkyard was full of them. So I thought to myself, what car is there a bunch of them that you can get, inexpensively? And, I go, there's a ton of Model 3s, right? And
Mm-hmm.
I made the chassis and slapped the Model 3 on top of it. And it worked out really good. We took it to Glamis. We took it out back. We took it to a little bit of the desert. I'm going to take it out more once I got more time, but it works pretty good. It's only getting better and better. So that's kind of the idea that we had. And then, we rolled right into this Cybertruck was like a
Yeah.
whim. Like, me and Chewy were hanging out. We're like, well, what can we do
What's
next?
next?
Well, we could race the Mint 400 in a Cybertruck, right? You got the
Mm-hmm.
Cybertruck. Well, I'll throw a roll cage in it. We'll go race the Mint 400 because the Chevy's doing it. At least we can show up and there'll be they'll have someone to compete against, and we can actually see if the Cybertruck can do it. You know?
Like, shout out to the Tesla engineers that just got shared this video right now. They're looking at all these pictures.
Nice.
But yeah, this is awesome. Yeah, the one other thing that comes in mind is like, I'm curious because I know obviously mostly stock suspension, but I'm curious if you guys have a strategy on the ride height versus like modes you're going to put it in. Are you just going to one and set it? Or I know that the track is pretty technical. You might come into a couple different situations.
Well, we're gonna, Chewy's gonna really take care of that. When we go do our final testing, we're gonna go through the few different modes that we can run. But the one issue that we did run into was, and I would like to maybe figure out or address if we could, but it's probably really, it's kind of difficult until we get some aftermarket shocks under this thing. I wanted to be able to independently lower the rear suspension comparisons to the front.
Mm-hmm.
And the problem is when you lift it, it's the front and rear. They're together. I can't lower the rear suspension independently from the front suspension. So like right now I would like to lower the rear. Why, you might ask me, is just weight transfer. I want to try to transfer most of the weight from those front tires to those rear tires, because I want to go into all these moguls and the holes. I want that front to be light, so I'm not just eating all the holes. So the easiest way for me to do that is to lower the rear and accept, okay, I'm gonna have to let off every time the back end bottoms out. I'd rather have that than surging into the holes, so that's one thing that we're probably going to try to address once we test this weekend. I think Chewy's already trying to work on it, but it seems like it's something kind of difficult that we might not be able to do, and I'll have to just drive around.
Yeah. Yeah.
You
Because I know you
can,
can hack it.
yeah,
There's like a
you
weird
can,
hack you can do around it.
Hey, if you guys know how to do that, I'm all ears, guys.
Well,
but then you can't drive. Well, actually, you can drive it in service mode.
Yeah,
I
but
don't know if I would
we might be
suggest it, though.
limited. Yeah.
I don't know if you can actually, because I know we could do, because I did it for a gag on the internet where you can raise it all the way up to like high top and then go into service mode and you can deflate the airbags manually. So you can put it in any orientation you want, but it's basically like a one or none. I don't think you can
Right.
partially
Yeah.
deflate.
No, it's either all or nothing. Yeah.
Yeah.
What
you're right.
about those little plastic adjustments that they have on the Cybertruck? Would those help?
Well, that's a good
Could be.
point. Yeah.
I actually have them. I have them from. I actually have them because that's what I have installed on my upper control arms in the front and in the rear. You can actually add spacers, AJ. I didn't even think about that. You
Like a
can
leveler?
actually lower just a little bit and trick
I
the truck
see.
to think. Yeah, trick to truck to think that it's actually at the desired height, but you can actually bring it down a little bit from the back. That
Or
might be a
maybe
good.
I
That's a
can
good
make a new
suggestion.
bracket, right, Jerry? I could maybe make a new bracket and just trick it into thinking that it's at the height it is, right?
Correct. Correct.
No.
But
I see.
the best thing to do is to be able to add spacers. That way you can play with it and adjust it like
Right.
right to after testing, and you could bring it down a little bit lower, and just so it's. I know exactly what you're facing because they like to jump from the back.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and that's gonna, for 200 miles, that might not be so fun,
Yeah.
Right.
right? So, well, you look like you gave us a job for Sunday morning. We're gonna be putting washers
Hey,
on there trying to.
Yep.
I'll be there. I'll be there.
Right.
Hopefully the
All right.
Tesla
Come on
engineers
over,
will
Jerry.
reach out too. Some
That'd be
answers.
really
Yeah,
cool.
that'd be awesome.
Well, that was something too that I was going to ask about because I mean you guys are already covering it, but the suspension, the terrain here, right, is challenging, and I think I pulled up the their Instagram and it shows the type of
Why
and
why
then
don't you
pull
talk
that
a
up.
little bit about the suspension, Chewy? What do you
Yeah,
got on for suspension wise?
exactly.
Yeah, so as far as like the actual air shocks and stuff, that's all stock Tesla. We didn't make any changes there, but Unplugged Performance was kind enough to sponsor us on this build. So we're actually going with their 2.5-inch lift kit. It's already installed. Basically spent a week at their shop working with them. But we upgraded the upper control arms. We added 2.5-inch spacers for the subframes. We added upgraded joints. Actually, in the rear, we actually added their new Cybershocks for additional damping in the rear. And then what else did we do? I mean, that's the gist of it. But yeah, I mean, thanks to them, we have much beefier suspension. I know the stock A arms, at least, like they're stamped sheet metal. They're not very strong. So with the
Right.
terrain we're gonna put it through, it just made sense to do the unplugged
You got bigger
upgrade.
tires too, though. With that lift, you were able to put bigger tires.
No, not at this time. So we ended up doing smaller rims actually, right? The truck comes with the 20s. We're doing ins with the bead locks, also from Unplugged.
Okay.
So we can get a little bit more sidewall from going to a smaller rim, but we didn't actually go with the bigger tire because we didn't have the clearance
So you kept on 35s.
on 35s. Yeah,
Yeah.
and you're
Okay.
limited to the knuckle right with the top.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
so maybe
Yeah.
I'll source some upgraded knuckles that give us more clearance or something.
Gotcha.
And then as far as, charging, I think that's probably a big thing that people are going to ask, right? They're going to sit there and go, okay, well, just stating 400 miles, right? And I know you guys talked about it's going to be cut in half, but even at 200 miles, traversing terrain, speeds and modifications, you added some weight. How do you guys plan on tackling or overcoming range anxiety, as some people will call it?
Yeah, so I can speak to that. So yeah, like you said, the race right now is expected to be about half, right? So 200 miles. Each mile is about 100 miles. So just, doing some very, very conservative calculations. If the truck gets 280 miles at 100% charge, and let's say we get, half the range on the terrain, on the off-road terrain like that, which I think is reasonable, but we still can expect to get 140 miles. So we can for sure complete the first lap, right? But after the first lap, there is a supercharger down the street from the end of the first lap. We're gonna go charge there and then come back and do the second lap. And that's actually what Rivian did last year, so we're gonna be following in their footsteps.
I was gonna ask if maybe if Rivian ever like disclosed what the results of that first try was, because I'd be curious if they were overly conservative on that. I'm just
Yeah,
thinking
I
like
don't.
regen and things like that that could extend out that range past half.
Yeah, yeah. I'm not sure about the Rivian. I know I was watching like the Silverado EV, some of the out of spec reviews in their videos. They did an interview with some of the Chevy guys, and I think they were getting about like 0.6 of rated mileage. So I mean, I'm conservatively saying 0.5, but I think we're going to be similar to them, and closer to 6. But just conservatively, assume the worst.
Well, I've never run that race in the mid 400, but there's a couple of dry lake beds over there, right? Are you guys planning to go 100 plus out there?
I'll let
Plan
AJ
to
take
give
this.
that thing everything she's got down that lake
Metal to the
bed.
metal, baby. That's what I'm talking
Yeah,
about.
yeah.
That's a huge thing.
That's
Is
all
it
I
an all
got, because most of the rough area, I'm gonna have to like try to keep her together, and
Right.
then the only place that I'm gonna be able to make time is on those flat stretches. I'm gonna have to give it everything she's got. And you can see, Unplugged hooked this up pretty well. They got us those front and rear bumpers they make that are really nice. You can see, and then those bumpers come with these really nice skid plates that protects the whole undercarriage in the front and the rear. So it worked out really good. And they're really clean and they kind of keep that stock look. You can see they give us a little bit more ground clearance, but what we liked it is it really reinforces the whole front end.
Yeah. So that if you accidentally hit a couple of Joshua trees, you'll be all right.
I'll be okay.
Yeah, and
Couple
you
is
can.
this?
boulders. There's boulders out there, Jerry.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
You gotta
bet.
watch. There you got. I'm gonna go boulder to boulder to boulder. There's this well, the last time I raced the Mint, in the beginning they got like this rock garden area. It's just a bunch of boulders you got to crawl through for a mile or two before you even get into the open desert.
Is this an all-wheel drive or a Cyber Beast?
It's a beast.
This is the Cyber Beast.
Hell yeah.
And then really quick, guys, because we're talking about the skid plates. So in this video, this is before we put on the skid plates in the front and the back, so you won't see them in this one. But there's a video out there where you can see the steel skid plates, and yeah, they're a lot more sturdy. and definitely gonna help us out when we're out there. It's funny because the rear skid plate, right, the factory one, it's like made out of plastic. And actually I broke it last time we were in Glamis. So, with their bumpers, we're not gonna have those problems of worrying about it breaking.
And see, they add that shock there to try to control this rear suspension surging. You
Mm,
see?
That's that Cyber Shop from Unplugged
yep,
right there.
correct. And it has a little knob so you can tune it.
No, it's definitely something that you need when you're out there doing this type of stuff. That's probably one of the main things, right? Is the suspension. Now, also talking about, I know we kind of touched a little bit on the charging. So the supercharger, the plan is to go to the supercharger. How does that work as far as race times and how does the Mint 400 handle all that?
So I can speak to it a little bit. So the way I understood it is once you get out of the racetrack, they pause the time so you can go charge. And then once you come back in to start your second lap, they restart the clock. That way I think it keeps it more fair, right?
Yeah, most definitely.
Well, if that's the case, why not go with the full 400? Know what I mean?
Yeah.
Keep it going.
Well,
Just
well,
keep-
I definitely would have to take the generator for that. Would there be an advantage to having the generator on site? Would that shave off any time at all? It doesn't matter because you're still on
Maybe
the
the
track.
charging
I
speed.
don't know how that would work.
So like how when we charge at like lower states of charge,
Yeah,
so I we stop at the pits, we're not going to be at that low of a state of
low
charge.
state charge.
Yeah, it's going to be basically towards the end of the race that we'll be at those lower state of charges. That's when we'll actually gain some time from charging at those lower levels. Versus if we're doing it in between the pits or whatever, it'll probably charge slower. So we might actually lose time because I
Gotcha.
believe that time is counted, right, AJ? When
Yeah,
you're in the pit, that's counted against you.
their time. So
Okay,
it'd
that's a
be
good
kind of
point.
probably more advantageous if we get all our charging done at the supercharger.
Right.
right.
Gotcha. Okay, so that's a good
Poor
point.
Bang.
So it counts against you. Got it.
Yeah. But for the Baja, Jerry, it'll be exciting, we know, because basically there is no superchargers in Baja except one in Ensenada, and I don't even think it works. So we'd have some generators. I think there's a 28-hour time limit, and we'd have to get 500 miles in within 28 hours. So, that's why I keep saying that's the big challenge. That's the one we're gonna, Chase, we're gonna try to like challenge ourselves on with the charging. We're
Mm-hmm.
gonna if we can get there, we're going to see. But I'm really looking optimistic. I think, I could keep that car together and we can get a finish out of it. And then, maybe we can get some more help. We're trying to get a couple different gentlemen with the battery solutions and a dump charger and a couple other things. So if we can get 2 or 3 spots on that track, we can actually race these long distance
Mm-hmm.
off-road races, and it looks like the technology is almost there.
Exciting.
Now, I have a question as far as all of the windows, right? The glass that's on the Cybertruck. How do you guys, what's the thinking with that? I mean, the glass roof alone, is that a concern or do you guys remove it or is it a concern for breakage?
Well, it's a little bit of a concern, but a lot of the stock production cars, they run the front glass. We'll have the windows down on the sides most likely, and the roof glass. We have a piece of aluminum that separates the passengers from the roof glass in
Okay.
case we do go over. The
Yeah.
glass won't affect us. Rivian has, I believe, the same similar issue with the roof glass. So that was the one tech inspector's big concern was that we had a piece of 120 wall aluminum on the roof of the cage that separates us from the glass roof.
Okay.
Gotcha. And you guys are getting some more. You guys got a lot of safety involved with these trucks, right? You're getting some seats and some
We had
seat
to get
belts and stuff.
those Yeah, we had to get those really trick seats. Chewy went down and he went and checked out the seats that they got, and PRP really wanted us to have these new seats. So we waited a little bit to make sure we get they're really nice. And then so you're gonna run the 5.3-inch seat belts. Basically, the seats and the belts are all attached to this 2-inch 120 wall roll cage. So it's pretty heavy duty. If you can imagine a 2-inch roll bar with an eighth of wall thickness, it's a pretty heavy duty cage. And like I said, and you can see in the pictures, the seats and the seatbelt harnesses are all attached to the roll cage itself.
Yeah,
So
the
it's pretty
safeties
strong.
is safeties are. I think the Cybertruck
Okay.
is originally strong itself, but you adding the roll cage would
Mhm.
I would not be scared to be in the car with you going 130.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Especially
I think that's Jerry's way of asking if he can ride with you.
Close the tunnel cover.
I forgot to mention, you mentioned the roll cage is only 400 pounds. That's like 2 people in the back worth.
Yeah.
So
Right.
it's not a problem.
Not at
Yeah.
all.
What
I mean,
about
are you? I guess one quick thing is, are you gonna on board? What's the plan as you're going along? Do you have anything with you to keep you entertained, or got a Starlink hook up to the bed, or
You gonna play
anything?
GTA or what are you gonna do?
Live stream it, hopefully.
Well, I think
Yeah.
Chewy could take that one
Yeah.
because Chewy's been working on this live stream with
Hell yeah.
Mhm.
our filmer Marshall from Aiden's Media. They're working together to try to get the live stream going, so then you guys can all follow along.
We
oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So we do have that Starlink. We've been testing the streaming to make sure it's going to work. But yeah, as of right now, we're shooting to have a camera at least in the cabin, so you guys can follow us along for the ride.
Perfect. Love to hear.
Nice. Nice.
And
And it's only one.
we're, go
Yeah.
ahead, Deal.
Now I was gonna ask, like, so it's the driver and a navigator, or like it's just the driver alone driving the car, like during the race.
It's the driver and the navigator. So, we're going to probably be switching back and forth. I'll do one lap and then Chewy's going to do the one lap. Chewy will be my co-driver for the first lap, and then I'll be Chewy's co-driver for the second lap. And we have a nice Lowrance GPS system. In addition, we're going to be running an iPad with another navigation on there. So we have like, 2 different navigations for the track to keep us on course, because that thing gets going pretty fast, and then, next thing you know, there's a 90-degree left turn, but the road keeps going straight. So a lot is with the navigator. The navigator, his job's really important. In that race, there's going to be so many cars, it's going to be a lot of dust. And that in that dry lake bed that we're talking about, that thing's going to be a dust bowl if there was no rain
Yeah.
a week before, and we're going to be just pinning it through that thing. You're not going to see much further than 20 feet ahead of you doing over 100 miles an hour. I've done it before, and it's, you're hanging on there, it's, if you want to go fast.
That's cool. That's more of the reason for for the Starlink than anything else, is to have that information.
Yeah. Yeah, because it'll go left turn, right turn really quick, and especially we're hauling butt. And then we specifically have to be careful because, like, when I'm driving a unlimited truck or a buggy, like I usually drive, it's one thing. But when you're driving like a limited truck, like a 7S or say these stock vehicles, okay, well, the thing will do 120, 130. It'll do it down that lake bed. But if I'm flying 110, 120 in the dust and got 3-foot moguls there, it's not going to handle it as well as a trophy truck's going to handle. So that just increases the danger. You really have to be vigilant driving that car, and specifically that truck, because it has the capability of going past 100 miles an hour. No problem on that lake bed. Well, what happens at the end of the lake bed when the lake bed's over and we go into 3-foot moguls? When does that start? So there's a lot of things like that, you wouldn't imagine that you have to think about, but you really do, it's a lot to it, if you want to go really, if we want to go fast, we can cruise along too, but I figure, we should try to go as fast as we can go safe. That's,
Mhm.
That's the goal, right? If I can't see, we ain't going fast, you know,
Oh, yeah.
so, we'll go as fast as but once again, the Cybertruck's really good. Yeah, we have awesome acceleration. We have awesome traction, but I also have awesome braking. That thing stops quicker than anything, just like it accelerates quicker than just about anything. So we have that. Okay, I can slow down really quick. And realistically, for me, off-road racing, and especially in a limited production class like this, is basically how fast can you rip up from point A to point B and then stop, slow down, do the obstacle, and then take off again. It's
Yeah.
basically just one after that, another of those. And the quick as you're able to do those, the better you're going to do, you know?
And I think that's where the beast shines, right? Because it has that torque. So you'll be able to cut a lot of corners with that. So, it's
Yeah, I'll be able to take off. It'll be like I'm for free, and we do have a weight advantage over the Chevrolet. I believe the Chevrolet weighs over 12,000 pounds or something, somebody was telling me. And I think we're about 7,000. So that's going to be a lot easier on the suspension of the Cybertruck. It's going to be a lot easier on the braking, and it's going to give me a lot more acceleration. So, they do have a bigger battery, so they got big longer range than we have. I don't know if it's going to be an advantage at this race because we don't think that they can do 2 laps without getting a charge. So as long as they have to get a charge within the 2 laps, it should be a pretty fair race.
I was going to ask, it kind of brings up a good question. What made you guys choose the Cybertruck as your EV build as opposed to a Rivian or a Chevrolet or even a Ford? What intrigued you about the Cybertruck to get you guys to pick that as your build?
I mean, I can speak to that a little bit. I mean, right, me and AJ, we did the Model 3, the off-road Model 3, and we were just talking like, okay, well, what can we do next? And I'm like, hey, well, I have a Cyber Beast. I've been tuning that thing. Why not? Let's just do my Cyber Beast. I've been a big Tesla guy for a long time, so I think, already having the truck and meeting AJ and the right two people connecting, it just made sense to do the Cyber
but
Beast.
you weren't always a Tesla guy. You told me that.
Yeah, no, I wasn't always a Tesla guy. I started off, I had Camaros since I was a kid. I had almost all the generations, the Z28s, the SSs. Uh,
Till you drove one.
yeah, and I thought those were quick, right? You do a twin turbo and you think you're the coolest car on the road, and then I drove a stock Tesla and back in like, the 2013, and I was like, holy crap, like these things are fast. Like from the factory, I don't have to do anything to them. They're just
Yep.
quick. And that kind of is what got me into Teslas. And then I started with that 2013. It was just a regular 85. And then I got a P85D, and that was even faster, right? And then I got a P100D, and that was even faster. Then I got the P100D with the Ludicrous. And then, I just kept kind of going until I got into a Plaid. And yeah, I've just been, I got really sucked into the Tesla game. Now I'm all Tesla. Everything I have, everything is either an electric car or electric vehicle or a Tesla.
That's awesome.
One thing for you guys, since EREVs are kind of becoming more and more the talk, where do you think that might go after this year goes well? A couple years from now, we might have EVs that could charge themselves along the way.
What was
I
it?
really think the hybrids are that's the way to go, for these races. But nevertheless, still there's a place for the electric vehicles. So, like there's a lot of places where you can't race. They don't want you to have oil and gasoline. They don't want to hear loud noises. And, the EV really opens us up to a lot more venues, a lot more environmentally friendly, or at a racetrack where there is noise ordinances. People run, all the racetracks have been closed down just because of that. So
It's
maybe
true.
this EV can turn into be some kind of slot car deal where, okay, well, we can have some stadium racing at our local stadiums again because they don't put out pollution and they're
Mm-hmm.
quiet. They're not going to keep the whole neighborhood up all week, all night. So I think that there's going to be a place for EV. Is
Mm-hmm.
hybrid the future? Well, everything is the future. It's just another option, right? It's just another thing that we can play around with and have fun with. But it's going to be its own thing. I believe that one team just finished the Baja 1000 with the hybrid. They were the first team to do it. I forget which car vehicle it was. I just saw that, and they were able to finish the Baja 1000 in that hybrid. So that's for sure. Coming up. I just felt like this. Chewy had the Cyber Beast, And I go, they're racing everything else but the Cybertruck. So I think it's pretty cool that we're gonna represent the Cybertruck, at the
100%.
race. I think that's, we're gonna be
Excuse me.
there. Now Tesla's represented. Everybody else is there, right? Well, there should be a Cybertruck, right? How are we gonna have a EV truck race and there's no Cybertruck,
Yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Here we are, right? So we better show up with the Cybertruck.
So
Make it happen.
that leads me to my next question, AJ. When is my truck next for the road cage?
Well, we talked at Glamis, remember? We need
Yeah.
and and I talked to Brett over at King, and I talked to a couple other people, but we're leaning more towards Brett. And what we want to do next is, but it's going to take some time, is after this race, we'd like to take the Cybertruck over to King Shocks. And, he already said that they want to do something with it. And Chuy already bypassed the airbag electronics, so it's possible. So now we have to do that. But we didn't want to try to pull that off before this race because we didn't want to rush everybody. And then we have to do different spring changes and we're last minute it. So we go, we'll
A
run
lot
it
of
like this.
testing. A lot
Yeah,
of
I think
testing.
it's going to be a lot of exactly. So I think the next step, if we pull this race off and we finish, I think we'll probably be dropping it off over at King's, and for Brett and his crew to, dial that thing in and get that Cybertruck to have some bypass, coilover shocks. I think a 3.0 bypass coilover shock on each corner would make that thing do wonders, And if we can get that front gigacasting a little more reinforced with some more cage work, I think you could take that thing pretty. And I think the next thing we'd have to look at from there is body flex, and if we're going to break a battery, that would be the next thing. Is it, okay, well, what if we do start jumping it? Okay, well, that thing's going to flex, man. What if I do decide to go through the 3-foot mogul's pinned and bounce that thing back and forth? Is they going to break the battery? But that's a bridge we'll have to cross later, once we get the shocks and decent shocks, then you guys are going to push it more. But see, this is all like, for me, is exciting because this is like what off-road was always about. When they made the first Baja bugs, they didn't look like the Baja bugs that look like now, right? You know what I mean? They had torsion bar suspension with KYB shocks. Now they got
Right.
coilovers with triple bypass with A-arm suspensions, right? So, you have to start somewhere, right? We have to start with something. We have to build something and break it and fix it and figure out how we can make it better, right? Because that's what off-road racing is about. That's the testing ground. Let's see what it can do. Let's break the thing. Let's see how we can make it better. That's why it always really attracted me to off-road, and this is really cool because it's new. No one's done it. This is like really, for me, it's like the coolest thing because it's
That's
completely
awesome.
different. It's something new. It's something that's hard to do, right? Okay, oh man, is it going to do it? I don't know, right? But we're going to try our best,
You
we're gonna,
guys might finally shut up all the haters.
Well, yeah.
well, the haters is what pushes us, right?
Really?
That's the
Yeah.
motivation.
I'm gonna say it's AI.
Yeah.
That's right.
I wouldn't be as motivated without the haters,
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
so that's good. If they're gonna make some fire, right? We're gonna, right?
That's,
Like I said, it's different. Nobody else is doing it. We're innovating.
Yeah.
Let's see what breaks. Let's make it better, right?
Tesla's going to have to update the off-road manual after all this race.
Yep.
Well, that's actually a good point because we actually got a comment, and Anwar, I hope I pronounce that right. Anwar 91335 made a comment saying these discussions would definitely help manufacturer of Cybertruck to update their Cybertruck. So essentially saying Tesla. So that's a question I have. Have you guys had any discussions with Tesla as far as what you guys are doing? Have they reached out at all? Do they even know what's going on? Do you guys anticipate them reaching out at some point if they haven't already?
I mean, I don't think that they even know we're doing this.
Okay.
We definitely, appreciate their support, right? With some of the issues we talked about earlier, if we can fine tune the suspension and, adjust the back, give us more flexibility, we're definitely open to it. But I don't know that they know we're doing this.
Hopefully they do now.
Yeah.
Well, they
And they
definitely
show up.
will when you guys
Oh,
cross that
yeah.
finish line. That's
That's
when
right.
you guys are gonna make sure that they notice. So
Well,
that's
we
pretty cool.
hope, and we hope we do well at this race because, like, if we do decide to do a Baja 500, we could really use the support, and they have access to the chargers. They already have the speed chargers. They already have the 18-wheeler that can do a battery dump into that Cybertruck. Well, that's
At
what we need,
500 kilowatts.
Yeah.
At
Yep.
500
Yeah.
right?
kilowatts.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
Like a
Yeah.
mega
So
pack.
hopefully this Mint 400 can prove to them that we can actually do it. And if we can get support to race the Baja 500, that's a big deal because, it'd be all a bunch of firsts. It'd be the first
Mm-hmm.
production EV to finish one, something like that. It'd be the first Cybertruck to ever do something like that. You know what I mean? So it would be like a big deal, I would imagine, and that would really say a lot for the Cybertruck. Just the Mint 400, just us finishing the Mint 400, I believe will say a lot for the Cybertruck. It'll look good. Cybertruck can finish off-road race.
It's gonna look good just showing up, AJ, because you do
Mm-hmm.
great work. You do great work.
Yeah.
I know Chuy does great work, and then just showing up is already like a leap ahead. You know what I mean? And like you said, nobody else is doing it. And if they hopefully they do reach out, and like I'm very optimistic. I love my
Me
Cybertruck.
too.
Same.
I've actually driven Chuy's truck, the Cyber Beast, and man, I can't wait to see you guys hit that pedal to the metal, man, and
Right.
leave Chevy in the smoke.
Well, if we, Chewy's got that live stream going with the Starlink, it's going to be awesome, guys.
That'll be awesome.
It's
Yeah,
going to be really
make
fun
sure
to
you get
watch.
the high performance, Chuy. Get the high. I'll pitch in for that.
The
I want
high
to make sure
performance
we're
plan?
able to see the high performance. Hey, maybe Tesla, maybe Starlink could sponsor you a high performance
Hey,
Starlink. Yeah. So
I'm down. Let's do it.
Now, speaking of that, I know I'm gonna give you guys a chance at the end to promote where everybody could find you guys, your social media, and all that. But where are you guys gonna be hosting this live stream? How can people find this live stream? Because the Mint 400 is almost a week away. I mean, it's only a few weeks away.
2 weeks.
be there.
Yeah, so I'm working on it right
I'll be
now.
there.
We're
I'll try.
we're thinking about hosting or trying to host it on YouTube. But this is my first time trying to figure out this live streaming, so I mean, I might reach out to you guys for some of this help, right? Right now I'm
Okay.
using OBS, and then that's connected to YouTube for the live stream. But yeah, I'm all ears if you guys have suggestions on how to make it happen.
Okay. Yeah, and
Get our
you have
mix.
you have a YouTube channel, I'm assuming, right?
Yeah. So it's gonna be under Kilowatt Customs, and you can find that on YouTube, just Kilowatt and then _ Customs.
Awesome. And obviously, I'm going to put all your guys' information in the description of this live stream and in the videos. If anybody didn't catch that, they want to go ahead, they could hit the link and you guys will be able to find everybody. But I think that's awesome. The fact that you guys are going to be live streaming. I didn't know you guys were going to be doing that, but the fact that you're going to be live streaming the event is just, that's literally putting people in the cabin of the Cybertruck right there with you guys. So that's super cool.
Figured it would be really cool for everybody, right?
Most definitely.
That's awesome. Yeah. Yeah.
Jerry, Deal, you guys have any questions? I know you guys are the big off-roaders. You guys have anything else for AJ and Chewy?
I got a question. So what about like spare parts? Are you guys like carrying spare parts like a tie rod or something like that? Or like you guys like if something happens, like the race is over? Or I'm just curious about that part.
So Dio and Jerry, you guys are gonna be there, right? Your Cybertruck will be there, so
Of
I'm hearing
course.
I'm gonna have some spare parts.
We actually carry spare parts, and we're not racing like you guys. We Deal has the
I have
front
a tie rod.
tie rods. I have the rears. Yeah, we have parts too. So
Sweet.
Yeah.
No, but in all seriousness, yeah, I'll be taking a full set of air shocks, Tesla air shocks. You never
Nice.
know. And then Unplugged, I believe, is supporting us with some spare parts as well.
Nice.
How does that support look like if it happens out on the track? I'm just curious.
Well, we're gonna have a toolkit, and we're probably gonna be carrying the tie rods on the vehicle. I figure if we blow an air shock out, I'll have to limp it to the next pit, you know? And then, if I blow a lower arm off, we're pretty much done. I think unless we're close to a pit where we can access one pretty quickly, but I think, if we did that, would be a catastrophic failure, you know? But like tie rods, flat tires, an upper A-arm replacement. We can handle that, Anything much more, it might be a little bit difficult.
Yeah. Plus, I think with the bead locks, you guys are going to be set. Like, I would
Yeah.
be much more concerned if you were just using the stock tires and wheels.
Yeah. Yeah, and I
Yeah,
think
they wouldn't
Adil
go
and
very far, I don't
Jerry,
think.
yeah, you guys have like a lot of experience with, unbeating tires at Glamis,
Mhm.
right? Are the ones that actually you guys told me like, oh no, you got to get bead locks. So
Yeah,
shout
no,
out to you guys.
you gotta get B
Yeah.
looks. Yeah,
Yeah,
no, that's the way to
nah,
go.
it changes the game.
Well,
I mean,
I feel like we got a good crew,
yeah,
It feels right. I've done this a long time. It feels good. Feels good. I think it's gonna work out.
Yeah, and I think
yeah. Nah,
that's part of that's one of the most important things, right? When you're going out on something like this with a vehicle that you don't know how it's going to react and how it's going to handle the terrain, and so you want to go into it feeling good and having that support. So no, I think that's
Yeah.
half the battle there.
Question for you, AJ and Chuy. For the people that are watching or people that are going to be watching, can they go see the truck? Are you guys going to be in the parade and over there at Fremont Street and Vegas? Do you want to let people know?
Yeah, yeah, we'll definitely be doing the parade. AJ, where else could they see it besides the parade?
Yeah, we're gonna do the parade and then we're gonna do the contingency. So we'll be most of the day at contingency. And then I think the parade starts at 2:30 down Fremont. So, everyone can go catch that. And, contingency is always really awesome too, because you get to see all the different race cars and trucks, and you get to meet the drivers and stuff. And then you get to see a lot of the sponsors there. So it's a really nice event, that they put on, and then like we'll probably be there a good 4 to 5 hours on contingency day. So, because it's going to we have to go through the tech inspection, we have to go get our GPS dialed in at PCI. We're going to be doing the tracker. We have to get the tracker set up. So all this will be done on Thursday, the day before the race, So yeah, if anybody wants to come out, come on out and check it out. We'll be there in downtown Vegas, pushing it through contingency.
It's awesome. And what time's the track time you guys are hitting?
I believe 8 a.m. Friday morning. That's when the race starts. And that's when the party begins.
Hmm.
And I'm assuming you're definitely planning on finishing the same day, right? It doesn't go on to like if you
Oh
were to
yeah.
do the 400, you wouldn't. Do they just run till the end of the night or something, or how does
No,
that
they
work?
got a time limit. If you don't make the time limit and if you don't get through that final checkpoint at a certain time, then you're DNF. You've already,
Gotcha.
Hmm.
yeah, that's why they put the time limits, because that way, because, some people will keep going, till the next day, the show's over already, So they believe they have a time limit. We have a time limit, I believe also. I don't know how many hours it is exactly, but I'm positive that we're gonna have a time limit to be able to accomplish the 200 miles before a certain
Gotcha.
time.
Gotcha.
Well, I do have that day off, Eric. If you want to live stream and find the live stream, we can
Should
shit talk the
we
entire time.
should we live stream their live stream and just like comment on what's going
Send
on?
it. Send
May-
it.
That'd be a lot
yeah.
of fun.
That would be
Um,
fun.
So, well, I appreciate AJ and Chewy coming on and sharing with us their build and what they have planned for their build with the Mint 400. We wish you guys the most success, and hopefully maybe the Baja is in your guys' future. But why don't you guys go ahead and share your guys' social medias or where people can find you? Go ahead.
Cool. Well, you guys can catch me, on my Instagram at the Baja Shop. And then you can follow me on my YouTube channel. It's at the original Baja Shop channel. And we're doing some pretty cool videos on there. You guys can check out some builds, some racing, some in-car, pretty much everything that's interesting that's going on. You know, you guys can follow me on.
Awesome. And Chewy?
Yeah, so Instagram's probably the best way to see what I'm posting. So that's underscore Kilowatt Customs on Instagram. I just started the YouTube channel yesterday, so I don't really have any videos there, but yeah, Instagram's probably the best way. Or you can find me on TikTok as well, and it should be Kilowatt Customs.
And I noticed on both of you guys' Instagrams, you guys have a guy that we all know.
Hey, who's
The
that
orange
cutie?
man.
You know, the guy in orange, you know.
I'm trying to push him over to X a little bit because that's where Elon's at, man. We need that funding, you know?
Right, right.
Yeah,
We'll get
I am on
everybody on.
X.
We can get everybody on the payroll, Jerry, and just go race and have fun. Right? That'd be
That's the
awesome.
dream. That's the
Right?
dream.
Right?
Yeah.
Hopefully, we'll see. You know, we got to start somewhere, like I was saying, guys.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's. I think slower will be better. You know,
Mhm.
let's just finish the race, and then that's gonna speak for itself. Like I said, I tip my hat. You guys did an amazing job. You know what I mean? Putting this in the small time frame. I mean, you know, I've seen your work, dude. It's. I can't wait. I'm
Should be
actually really
fun.
excited.
Cool,
Fan-
cool. Thanks, guys.
Yeah.
Thanks. We really appreciate all your guys' support. You know, it's really, really cool and helps give more wind behind our sails, you know, to get the work done and get the car ready.
Most definitely. Well, we appreciate you guys coming on and look forward to hearing about your guys' results and watching you guys on your live stream and seeing you guys finish and cross that finish line.
Awesome.
Totally. Stay safe.
All
Thanks,
right,
guys.
guys. Appreciate it.
Thanks, guys.
Alright.
Thank you.
Yep.
Bye,
All right.
AJ.
Bye,
Talk to
AJ.
y'all
later.
Bye.
Have a good night.
Bye, Chewy. See you guys.
Good night.
Guys.
Good night.
It's funny, Jerry. So we have a comment that says Jerry has unlimited orange polo gear.
I do.
So-
I do.
And look,
I could go. I have spares.
Jerry's closet is just orange.
I also go to Costco and buy the microfiber orange towels too.
Those are great, by the way. Yeah.
That's funny. You know, it's crazy just to see the amount of work that these guys have, that AJ and Chewy have put into the Cybertruck. And I mean, it's just it's one of those things when I look at it and I see it just gutted, right? It just my mind goes, wow, like somebody actually did that. You know, it's just because I view Tesla and you know, the Cybertruck and all of their vehicles, they're like computers, right? And it's like when you see a computer and you look at it from the exterior and it you know, whatever, you know, this machine, and then you open it up and you see all these parts and you see all these wires and you see all these components. It's crazy. It's just crazy to think about what goes into making these things tick. And the fact that Chuy and AJ are able to rip all the layers off and get in there and just kind of you know, be surgical with it, and they're doing this incredible build that I'm super excited to see them, you know, take out to the Mint 400 and race it, and like they said, really just kind of put the Cybertruck on that map of you know, how many times has someone said, oh, that's not a real truck, and these guys are going, well, we're going to show you.
Yeah.
That's just
Oh yeah.
that's crazy.
That's gonna be the real statement right there, man. I'm super excited. I actually couldn't sleep last night. I was so excited.
And you're still 2 weeks away.
I know.
You're excited for the
I know.
conversation.
I know. It's just this is good news for a Cybertruck. By the way, don't you have a big news about the Cybertruck too? I mean,
True.
You know, Jerry's getting good at this. Yeah, no, definitely.
What are you talking about? I just found a used Cybertruck for $64,000 right now in Norco,
makes no
California.
sense. Good luck. Good luck.
What Jerry teed up very nicely to us. 2 hours?
Like,
An
yeah,
hour
like
and a
right
half
before we
ago.
went.
Yeah.
Yeah, just minutes prior to us going live, the official Cybertruck X page announced that there's a new version of the Cybertruck now available to order in the US. This is our most affordable Cybertruck yet. Tough as nails with ultra low cost of ownership. Starts at $59,990. It's a dual motor all-wheel drive with the estimated range of 325 miles. Powered tonneau, bed outlets and power share capability, coil springs with adaptive dampening, which I want to talk to you guys about,
Yes.
heated front row seats with textile material that is easily clean, also has a steer-by-wire four-wheel steering, the 6-foot by 4-foot composite bed, towing capacity of up to 7,500 pounds, and a powered front. This is really big news because number one, we literally just talked about this 2 weeks ago on our episode, last episode of Keep On Cybertruckin, about how they were phasing out, getting rid of the Model S, Model X, and we were speculating, or not speculating, but concerned that the Cybertruck could be next, right? And we don't want that. None of us want that. But we also talked about how there's some things that they need to do to get those sales numbers up, because I think obviously there's a huge interest when you got 200 or 2+ million pre-orders originally. You know, people wanted the truck, but I think when they came out with that $100,000 price point, and that was a huge thing, and then obviously they didn't live up and or give us everything they promised. But now at $60,000, and you're really not losing much. You're losing what, the leather seats,
Air suspension, I think.
air
is a big
suspension.
Air
one.
suspension is a big one. Rear
Towing
heated seats.
capacity isn't as much. The rear heated seats, but I mean, I think those are all things people could live with. I mean, what do you guys think? I mean, I think this is just big, big, big news.
That's huge news. I mean, we were considering buying a salvage truck for something close to that price range, and then this would make sense to almost buy it outright new. You know,
And Sherwin said it right in the chat. Like, I mean, people last year that bought the rear-wheel drive for $69,000 are probably not too happy. But in all fairness, I would argue how many actually bought that version of the truck, because I think it was enough of a shock in the market that everyone was like, that's not worth it. That I think it scared away a lot of people. And we chatted about that, or we texted about it like 3 weeks ago when I went by the Gigafactory, and there was like 6 Cybertrucks in the outgoing lot.
Yeah, they definitely needed to do something to boost the sales numbers, in my personal opinion. And like I said, we've been talking about it, right? We've been talking about it, whether it's been off the air in text messages, or, you know, like I said last episode, we literally said they need to do something because they need to get those sales numbers up to keep the Cybertruck going, because people want it. You just have to entice them, and I think this is 100% the right move. Question now is, Chase, are you you've been looking for?
I mean, I've been saying I've been wanting a $50,000 Cybertruck for since I got the Cybertruck, but I might as well double down right now and be like, I want a $30,000 Cybertruck. Let's keep this going. Let's see how low we can come. I mean, come on. If Tesla's willing to budge, let's see how far their bottom dollar is. But yeah, it's definitely tempting, because it's literally like maybe 12,000 more than what I spent on the Lightning. So I mean, it's getting into a range where I hope at least people will be like, okay, now's my time. Like, people that had day one reservations, that they saw the $100,000 sticker and they're like, no, thank you. They're like, okay, now's a good time to wait. And to be honest, that's only what, 2 years after the launch.
3 years.
That's 3. That's not that bad.
Yeah, a friend of Tesla says, because we were talking about the things that it's technically missing, I guess you could say, from Foundation series or the other variants that you can get on Tesla.com. He says, I think people can live without all those extras as long as they can have the all-wheel drive and the power in the bed and the power tonneau and the power share. I agree. I think those were things that some of those things that they took off and they stripped off of the rear wheel drive. I looked at that, and Chase
100%.
knows, we had a podcast episode and we spoke about that, and we just went, yeah, no, I don't see that at $69,000. It wasn't anything that was going to entice me.
This has no FSD though, right?
No, it does not have FSD, but none of them have FSD unless if you order it. You know, the Foundation was the only one that you pay the 100,000 and you get the,
as an incentive. Another good point from the chat. Where was it? Sorry, I lost it. But the tax breaks are completely different now. That's a big factor.
Yeah,
Oh,
PS3
Thank you. Yes.
MFQFGC did mention, but they did have tax credits. So yes, the Foundation series and previous, but that's just EVs nowadays. There's a lot of EVs that I mean, the EVs now just you don't get the tax breaks anymore. So I think that's something that we're used to, but moving forward, we kind of have to kind of let that go, just because they're gone. But yeah, at the 69,000, maybe people were able to get some of those breaks.
I think this is gonna boost sales dramatically.
Definitely.
Oh, friend of Tesla actually made a good point. Thank you for that. He says nobody has FSD. You can't buy it anymore.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's
Just
we've
a
got that
subscription
past
only.
past that deadline where it's subscription only. So yeah, so at this point, even with this variant at the call it $60,000, you just get the
Mhm.
subscription if you want
Could be
FSD.
wrong, but I thought I got an email where I still had till March to still buy the FST. I gotta recheck my email, but I think if you were to take ownership before March, you could still get the FST. Even though I know that the deadline was February 14th, but I'll double check on
Mhm.
that. I'll let you know next week.
Okay, yeah, I'm not sure. Environmental Canadian is back. He was watching, I guess, the Toronto Raptors game. He's saying he loves our show, so thank you, Calvin, for coming back. But he also made another comment about PowerShare being a ripoff. He says he was quoted $13,000 Canadian dollars just for the hookup. He says he'll just use an extension cord to power his house. But I will say this: I had the Cybertruck for a little over a year, and I had PowerShare. A local electrician came out and they installed everything. I paid, what I needed to pay, and it never was operational. I went months, maybe 8, 9 months, and it was never turned on, and I got rid of my Cybertruck and never was able to actually use PowerShare. So, for me, at least in my area, I still have that stuff installed in my garage, and it's pointless now for me, but, um, what are you gonna do?
Going back and forth between the two versions, the biggest question I have is why is the towing capacity much lower if supposedly this is the same motor?
The
That's
springs, the
Because of
suspension.
the suspension? Okay.
Suspension,
That would make
possibly.
sense. The
The
other one, if you go
suspension.
back and forth, you can actually see what else has been ripped away. So the cabin outlets are gone. The screen in the back is also gone. What else we have?
Those aren't deal breakers for me.
No, it's the little nickel and dimes that
Of
are
course. I mean,
differences.
they had to do something, right?
Yeah. The suspension has me curious though, because I'm curious of how, to put this lightly, how bad it is comparatively to the air ride suspension.
Well, I wanted to talk to it's great because Chase and Adil and Jerry, you guys are big off-roaders. There's always that I get a lot of comments on my channel whenever I post a video of off-roading, where I get people that comment about air suspension being horrible for off-roaders. This does not have the suspension. So why don't you guys speak on that? Number one, how does that affect the Cybertruck? Is it a good thing, bad thing, indifferent? Do you not really care? And then how does that affect off-road performance in a positive or negative way?
Go for it, deal.
I think the having no air suspension on the stock version that they're going to sell for the Cybertruck now, it's good in a sense that it's going to open the market to a lot of people that want to buy aftermarket suspension, because obviously when you buy a vehicle that you want to, let's say, go off-road in and it's stock, right, the first thing you look at is like suspension upgrades. So if you buy something that's already without the air suspension, you already save that money to be able to go to an aftermarket company. So like AJ was saying, like, he's going to reach out to the King Shocks and other companies, right? So if someone has a better suspension system coming out for it, then why would you buy and spend a lot of money on getting an upgraded version with the air suspension that you might just replace it anyways with a better one. So in that sense, it probably makes sense to go with the new version of the Cybertruck that they're selling, because you don't have to have that expensive suspension component. On my side, I think the airbags, the way they are right now, they're actually great. I mean, there's times, if matched with like bead locks, wheels, and you air down to like 18, 20 psi, like there's times like me and Jerry would go like 70, 80 miles an hour in the desert, and the suspension is just great. Like it feels perfect. I mean, I know there's room for improvement always, but it's still the stock suspension on the Cybertruck is pretty damn good.
Yeah, so I'm gonna agree with the deal on this one. First of all, I do love the air suspension on the truck, but like he said, he nailed it on the head. There's always room for improvement, right? Um, a perfect example is a couple weeks ago when I went to KOA, there was some trails that I did, and Kyle, actually from Out of Spec, was driving a Chevy Silverado similar to this Cybertruck with the springs, and he was limited to height clearance. And I think he even ended up hitting one of his fenders because you can't adjust it. So there's, just like everything else, there's pros and cons. Now, deep down in my heart, I know that eventually I'm gonna end up pulling this suspension out of this truck, even though I love it. But if I'm truly passionate
Of
about
course you are, Jerry.
going to race over here with AJ and Chuy to the Baja, we're gonna, let's just be real. It's not ready. If we put King shocks with bypass, triple bypass, and everything, then there's not gonna be a stock truck that would be even close to it. Because that's the
Yeah.
only thing that I miss from my Raptor and from my Dodge TRX was that travel and that soft, smooth ride on the whoops, But I mean, I've had my truck for 2 years, and I feel like the aftermarket companies haven't gave up on us yet, man. They're starting to come out with stuff, Look at the Unplugged, and you saw the shocks that I posted about Bill Stain.
They'll stay in it.
That would be an upgrade alone. I think that like I told you before, I think that when the Cybertruck first came out 2 years ago, they were on Elon's time frame, right? Now all these aftermarket companies have had an extra 2 years, actually almost 3, because it was in prototype, right? To make better products, and it's only going to get better from here on out. But a deal did nail it on the head. I think that as far as an off-road Cybertruck, this would be the suspension to get, because you can definitely get better shocks, better control arms, removable sways. I mean, it's a no-brainer, and it's $59,000.
Yeah, you basically have $20,000 of play
Yeah.
money there to like swap out, because you're not going to use these shocks. Like you're going to swap
Exactly.
it out. Which I
Yep.
mean, I'm looking more at the spec sheet. It is kind of like they're just kind of bare bones as much as they
Yeah.
can. Even the
Yeah.
audio system, there's no more active noise canceling. There's the L tracks in the bed are gone. Obviously, the recoil springs we talked about. There was another one in there. Second row display. I think that's about it. I mean, for the most part, I mean, yeah, they're stripping it down to where it should have been last year when they
doable.
came out. I
It's
think
doable.
they would have had a slam dunk if they would have also came out and said, yeah, it's going to be 59. And if you had an original, reservation for the Cybertruck, we'll give you an extra incentive. I think that would have been boom.
That's a
They would
great
have
point.
boost sales right there. Even if it was just like a 2 years of like FSD and supercharging or whatever they can kind of put on for free without a cost, it would have been nice.
Well, we have some comments that I don't want to ignore too long. So, number one, Sherwin's in chat. He talks about ventilated seats. I mean, I don't
They're
disagree
gone
with
too.
that. Yeah, they're gone
ventilated
too.
seats are gone. Horsepower looks like to be the same. Looks like the same engine. I think we just talked about the suspension is different, so that's where the towing the payload is coming into play there.
Yeah. So, friend of Tesla asked about the horsepower. I would assume, like what Chase just said, I think it's the same as as the Foundation Series all-wheel drive. It's just the reason why it seems like it's less powerful is because of the tow rating, but like Jerry said, that's due to the suspension. Another thing, we had somebody comment. They want to know what your mug is, Chase.
The Cybertruck one. It's always been.
They're asking. We gotta give them the information. Someone's asking. It sounds like Red Weird is calling you Gus, Jerry. I don't know why he's calling you Gus, but he's asking about the Volvo wagons. If your thoughts were on Volvo wagons, I don't know why he's asking that.
EVs.
What else do we have here? Oh, King Shocks. Okay, so somebody talked about King Shocks for the future. So it kind of sounded like AJ, I mean, that was kind of news, I think, to the general public, right? That King Shock is talking about creating shocks for the Cybertruck. I don't think that was something that was advertised or spoken about, and it sounds like AJ kind of let that out of the bag a little bit. What do you guys know those conversations?
We've talked about it. I knew about this, but you got to realize AJ, his dad, they've been building off-road buggies and cars and sand rails since the 60s, right? So they have a really good relationship with King Shocks. And when it comes to racing and, top tier shocks, that's going to be King Shocks. Everybody knows that, right?
Yep.
That's why, I think that they're going to lead. They have a really good relationship with them. And that's awesome. Don't get me wrong. I just don't know what the cost is going to be, So hopefully there's other companies that offer similar, and then maybe be able to test it out. But that's definitely, that's what you need at the Baja, though. So you got to build for what you want to do, right? I probably need that. The way I'm jumping my truck without King Shocks, and I still haven't lost one of my airbags. You know what I mean? I'm still riding around in stock shocks. You know what I mean? I mean, that's like I need King Shocks, right? But it's still a ways. It's gonna a lot of fine tuning. I have a lot of questions. The truck is really heavy. How's it really all gonna work? And it's gonna be a while. Like you said, but this Mint 400, this race, if they win, this could change everything, man. They could open up doors to King Shocks, maybe even Bilsting. Like it could, let's keep this going. Let's keep on Cybertrucking, guys. Come on.
Hell yeah.
Keep on Cybertruckin.
I think that was kind of our point, right? In the last episode is like, hey, the four of us absolutely love. I mean, you guys still have your Cybertrucks, so you guys love your Cybertrucks. Chase and I absolutely loved our Cybertrucks and didn't necessarily want to let them go, but we did for various reasons. But that was our concern, right? Last episode of, man, if Tesla doesn't do something, look at Jerry with this tricked out.
I know. I was gonna say
Love it.
he's got it.
But if
Could be the start of a new era, really.
Yeah, if they don't do anything. But now with this, and then with the guys AJ and Chuy doing what they're doing for the off-road, just once again proving that the Cybertruck is capable. And I know they're doing some crazy extreme stuff, but it's capable. You guys are using Cybertrucks that you guys have done some modifications that most people would do to just a regular ice truck, right? So Cybertruck is definitely capable, and it's really showing now.
Yeah, because both of you guys have all-wheel drives, right?
Yeah.
So
we have
it's
all-wheel drives.
the exact same motor we're talking about that's now a 59. Like, it's very capable in that frame, in that truck, to do a lot of really cool things.
If they offer free supercharging, I'd buy one like right now.
But yeah, only the Cyber Beast has that right now. I was looking at it.
Yeah,
now.
but that's still kind of out of my price range.
The only other thing I was going to mention with the Cyber Beast that I didn't realize is that they have rear torque vectoring as well with the Cyber Beast that they don't have with the all-wheel drive. I thought that was interesting. I hadn't heard about that. But we'll see how that comes into play with, because it sounded like you guys were going to block out rear steering though, so maybe it's not as big of a factor with the
That's not a bad. That's not a bad suggestion. I think
something to play with.
Yeah, I think that that's more of a safety that they want to play. Yeah, it's one less thing to break because it's. I've looked up. I've done some research on the Mint 400. It's pretty unforgiving. Like you said, And AJ's got a lot of experience, man. He's won the Baja. He's raced in the mid. AJ's got tons of experience. You know what I mean? So I'm very confident that truck is gonna finish. Now, if we win, that's a plus. But like I told him, I was being honest from the truth. Just showing up is already a win in my book, man. Because Tesla, I'm trying. I've been trying for the last 2 years to get Tesla to support us. Because we're me and the dealer are basically unpaid Tesla employees.
Basically.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
hey, Tesla, reach out to us. We're right here. We'll
Doing the cool
we'll,
things.
yeah, we're making the truck.
we love we literally talk every day about
Oh, yeah.
what are we gonna do, and then this, and if you have an issue, and it's for the love of moving forward, right? So I think I'm very optimistic about the near future, and I'm excited. It's an awesome time to be alive, to be the first of something, and then this could be in history. Do you know? It could be like
Yeah.
a Tesla one in the mid 400.
Yeah.
But you're right. I was like, why not do the full 400, bro? I'm down. I will chase. I will be like at the guys in the car with the generator in the back. You know what I mean? And chasing that other Cybertruck.
Well, correct me if I'm wrong, but like the pit stops are along the track, correct?
That's what I was.
I would
didn't want to
assume you
ask.
could just you could have someone like yourself travel along with the generator.
I thought, yes, but
We'll
I
get there.
think they won't allow you on the track because you don't have a roll cage. That's
Yeah.
why I told AJ. That's why I told AJ
Yeah.
if when's my truck's next? Because once you have the safety, once you pass tech, then you could be out there. Because that's always a possibility, right? You can roll over but the Cybertruck is really safe. We seen the video. We were talking about it a couple weeks ago. The damn thing rolled over. It's a teeter-totter when it rolls over, but it's safe. Let's call it what the way. But with the roll cage, that thing's bulletproof. That's why I told AJ I wouldn't mind going 130, no problem.
I'm
You're gonna jump it even higher.
Yeah, no one's surprised by you stating that.
I'm just glad that he said he's gonna hit pedal to the metal, man.
Yeah.
But
At least on the dry lane.
it strikes the exact same tune that I think all of us kind of had. It's like, okay, everyone saw this is new. We want to be a part of it. And then what has someone not done with this truck yet? I think that was like, okay, let's do it. And that's the reason why I jumped it, and the reason why Jerry, you jumped it as well. And going out to Glamis as much as you are, this is cool because we're on the front end of where EV trucks are going to be off road now.
I really do hope that they get that high performance Starlink though, because if they just have a regular Gen 3 and he's going 130,
Yeah.
I'm gonna be able to see nothing.
Yeah,
And
just
they're
see 2 frames a second.
They're gonna end up finishing the race, and then they're not connected anymore. They're not gonna be thinking about the live stream. So
Didn't hit record.
I'm gonna suggest that.
Yeah, help him out with that and let us know. We'll definitely share it along.
Well, when
Yeah.
you're
Because
sitting at the barbecue with the beer in your hand, you just nudge them and be like, "Hey, man, you need that high performance Starlink."
yeah.
Are you going to be out there for the whole weekend? Both of you?
Yeah, I'm actually gonna head out on Wednesday.
Perfect.
Yeah, I'm gonna see him for the parade. So for the next podcast, I'm gonna actually be out there.
That's right.
A deal is just gonna try to make it out there too. But I'm for sure. I already asked for the time off. I'm gonna be out there, and I can be live streaming too, but from the pit stop or whatever it is. I don't even know where I'm gonna be at. I'm just happy to be part of it.
Well, that's what I was saying, that you could test out all of the live streaming equipment on the truck during the parade, at least.
Yeah, but it's not the same when you're going.
Well, I know, but I mean, at least work out all the easy to fix stuff sooner.
Yeah, that's a possibility. Yeah, so we'll see. I'll go behind them and with my.
You'll be in the bed of the truck.
No, I don't have the suspension. That 2.5 inches that they're getting extra. That's a big one, man.
Yeah.
Because it gets pretty rough out there, man. And the suspension on the regular stock truck does really well. Like Adil said, we just went out a couple weeks ago to what was it? We went. Anza
2 weeks
Borrego.
ago.
Dude,
Yes.
we were going 60, 70 miles an hour on dirt road. I mean, it was very,
it was
and I was right in back of some of these guys. You know what I mean? I
Yeah.
couldn't see anything, but as an off-roader, you don't see anything. I'm following lights. That's what I told the dealer, because I was in the back.
Yeah, I was, and then in the beginning when you were going fast, I was behind Jerry, and I'm just looking at his chasers. And my wife asked me the question, it's like, what if there's a rock? I'm like, I'm just trusting Jerry at this point. If there's a rock,
Exactly.
he hits it, we're both hitting
No,
it.
no, that's the truth. That's the truth. We've been doing it for years. They used to do it with the Jeeps and used to do it with the side-by-sides. You know, you really can't see much except for the dust, but you can see the chasing lights. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So you just follow the chasing lights, and hopefully the person in front of you is making educated decisions, you know? So
Yeah, it's crazy. It really is crazy. People that haven't ever done that, they have no idea that you truly can't see anything.
no, you can't see
Yeah.
nothing.
You're just-
Absolutely
You're just
nothing.
looking
No,
at
in the back.
lights. You're just like, okay, the light's going that way, we're going that way.
You're not
Yeah.
hyping up.
No, this is what's hyping it. People, you got to watch this. This is
You gotta
some
watch it
crazy
because you
stuff.
won't see anything.
Well, you won't see anything, but if something happens, you're gonna see.
Then you'll see it.
a lot. Yeah. So it's pretty crazy.
We could get we know how to get a good shot. A deal if he gets his FPV out there, then you can really see. He can keep up at 100+ miles an hour with the FPV.
Oh
That's
yeah,
sweet.
FPV will easily keep up with 100 miles an hour, no problem.
We just need like 50 batteries though charged. So if you guys know any sponsors for FPV batteries, we're open.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, FPV, it's pretty good. Like I've had those FPV drones go way past 140 miles an hour.
That's crazy.
Yeah, so those things.
What's the range on
Crazy.
those things? How far can you go?
So FPV, I mean, your range is, depending on which controller and system you use, your range can average around 5 to 10 miles in an open area or congested. But we're all limited to batteries. The batteries will, if you're pushing the quad, I mean, we call it quad, but if you're pushing the drone,
The same problem with my truck.
I was
Yeah.
just gonna say, hey, a deal. We're a
You don't have to
EV
explain that to us.
podcast. We all understand batteries are the limitation. Okay.
You
Yeah,
got
so
your
that is-
kilowatts.
So yeah, so that's the biggest issue, even with the FPV world. Like when I
Yeah.
used to fly so much with my buddies, like we were all like, "Oh, the bigger the battery," but then when you put a bigger battery, it gets heavier.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
we're like, "Oh no!" So we got to find that
As they
sweet
do.
spot. So yeah, so we found that sweet spot. Like if you have a 5-inch, somewhere around 13 to 1500 milliamps, and then if we keep it easy on the throttle. You get like 5 to 6 minutes on that, but if you're really
Jeez.
pushing it, 2 to 3 minutes, like, and your battery's done. But you can go for 2-3 minutes, like full 100 miles an hour, 120, no
That
problem.
is
Crazy.
That's actually.
You basically get out of range before you can bring the thing back.
Yeah,
That
definitely.
is true, right? It's gone.
10
and you're
miles
like, "Oh,
away."
shit."
You can't reach it anymore.
Yeah,
That's cool.
they sound like rockets too, and they're like, and you're like, what was that? You know, it really gets attention with the sound. It's all electric.
Well, we have a comment here from Tina X7Q67 says this is her new favorite podcast. So we appreciate that. And she put a popcorn emoji. Well, if you want some fun, I think right now is about that time to get into Grok Unhinged, which is our segment that we do where we grab a negative
Let's do it.
comment that we've received on one of our social media pages. We read it to Grok and we let Grok respond to it. So that way we don't have to. So whenever you're ready, Jerry, am I speaking to Grok or are you speaking to Grok?
No, I think it's better if you speak to Grok. Just give me a second. You almost ready?
I'm ready
Go
when
for
you
it.
are. All right. Hey, Grok.
All right, motherfucker. Hold on to your nuts. Imagine this.
Hold on, Grok.
You're-
Hold on, Grok. Hold on. She's been in backstage
She-
too long for
she
now
was-
an hour
she
and a
was-
half.
She's pissed off that we made her wait an hour.
She
and
was
a
still
half.
telling you
I'm gonna
bedtime
come
stories.
back. Yeah, I'm gonna come back. You ready?
Yeah.
All right, here we go.
Hey, Grok, could you respond to a comment that I received on my YouTube channel where somebody asked me, why did I get rid of my Cybertruck? And somebody else responded to them saying that because it's a box on wheels and ugly.
Oh man, that's gold. Here's what I drop back. Keep it short, savage, and leave them guessing. Bro, I didn't get rid of it. I upgraded. That box on wheels? Yeah, it looked like a rejected prop from a bad sci-fi flick. But hey, at least it didn't catch fire like my neighbor's Prius. Ugly? Sure. But I'd rather drive a
She actually kept it pretty tame this
Yeah.
week.
Yeah, I know. Total plot twist. Anyway, next time, ask why I traded it for something that actually turns heads without looking like it was designed by a drunk architect.
No.
Wow.
So, well, there you have it. She actually
it.
kept it pretty easy
Pretty
this
tame.
week. I felt
Yeah.
like I think she's a little pissed off that we kept her waiting for an hour and a half. But
I know.
Not
It's okay.
sticking dicks in anything like at all.
I know. It was only triple X today. It wasn't that bad. Yeah.
no, yeah, exactly. Well, I want to know what's going to happen once we shut off all the cameras and you have to stay there with her, Jerry. She's probably going to take
The
out her
autopilot.
anger on you.
On
No,
autopilot, it's like, oh, let me show you how it drives.
I actually asked it if it thought that the Cybertruck could win the Mint 400. It actually responded, "Sure, if Elon stopped playing around with those Mars rockets and actually put some effort into the Cybertruck." I mean, I thought that was pretty crazy too. I'm like, holy shit, you know what I mean, dude? That's your
Wow.
boss. Like, what are you doing?
That's not your boss. That's your creator.
Creator, yes, yeah. That's why it's unhinged, though, man. It will just like.
Yeah. That was that's pretty cool. We enjoy that segment on our show, and we're going to do that every show. So for anybody that watches us live or even just watches us once we post this on YouTube, stay to the end of the show because that's one of the segments that we do towards the end. Last thing I want to do before we sign off is I think we had a giveaway last week, right?
Yes.
As far as somebody that you just needed to enter to win, and we have a winner. And our winner because you have, how many watches do you have, Jerry, that you were giving away?
Think I still have 3.
Okay, so Environmental Canadian, congratulations, you're going to be our winner for last week's episode. What I want to do for this week is let's pick a second winner, right? Because we got to get rid of these watches. So let's get another watch away. If you guys want to pick somebody that commented this week on the live broadcast that we can give one away. Do you guys have a comment that you guys enjoyed or a question?
I'm down for whatever you think is best.
Chase, what about you, Chase?
What about like Sherwin? I think it was a good input.
You want to go with
Sherwin in.
Okay. All right. So Sherwin, you're also another winner for the
I think he already has one.
Does he have one?
What?
Yes, I seen it on his page.
Okay, we're
okay.
not going to go with Sherwin. Chase,
No.
try
She's
again.
All right,
winding
Tina.
back.
Tina, let's go, Tina.
Winding.
Let's go, Tina. What we want is Tina and Calvin, otherwise known as Environmental Canadian. Go ahead and shoot me a comment, and I will go ahead and shoot you guys an email, and we'll get that coordinated with Jerry to get you guys a watch.
Awesome.
And we'll do that, and then maybe Jerry can give one away on his Instagram, that last watch that he has.
Perfect.
So, yeah, other than that, guys, that's all we got for this week. We went over a little bit, but I think we needed to. I think today was a great conversation with AJ and Chuy, so we appreciate them. Once again, all of their information is going to be in the description.
My watch right here. I don't know if you can see it.
It's kind of dark, but yeah.
It's dark, yeah. Okay.
But yeah, we're going to leave all their information. Once again, they're going to be racing in the Mint 400. We're going to go ahead and put all of their information for that down below as well. And, give them a follow, go to their YouTubes, Instagrams, all their social media. And as always, go to Jerry Deals and Chase's X accounts and YouTubes. Appreciate you guys. Thank you. Thank you to everybody that joined us this week. We appreciate all the comments and questions. And we'll see you guys in 2 weeks, Thursdays, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time.
Right on. Thank you.
All right.